the break, we were talking about the world of weight loss drugs and the latest developments. So Dr. Sandy and Dr. Tony are here to continue the conversation. With the current surge in demand and discussions about weight shaming, there is so much to unpack. Recently, body acceptance advocate Katie Storino, who's a friend of Cityline, received an apology from the CEO of Weight Watchers after calling out the company's role in diet culture. Take a look.
I want you to know
I don't really get that very often.
I am sorry.
Like a acknowledgement like that.
What I said on that special, that it's not your fault, I learned that from you, where we played any part in the shame that people carry with them. I apologize.
And I'm happy that we're talking about shame, because when we talk about these weight loss drugs, we have to talk about shame. There is so much shame that is connected to weight everywhere for women. So it was a very powerful moment, and it makes you think a little bit. So Dr. Van, how important do you think it is for a big name like Weight Watchers to actually own up to their part in fueling diet culture and address the harm that it's caused?
I think it's a really, really important stepping stone to greater acceptance and appreciation of obesity as a chronic disease. And remember, not everybody with a high BMI has obesity. Just because you have a high BMI doesn't necessarily mean you have a disease. It's when it's high enough where fat is actually impairing your health in some way. But for a long time, women have shouldered this burden that they are to blame if they can't lose the weight. We now know that there's a biological imperative to regain, but we have played a big role, even in healthcare, at perpetuating this stigma associated with having higher weight. We've told people for a long time, you've got to lose the weight. You've got to lose the weight. I can't tell you how, but just lose it. And then as soon as there's treatment available, we're seeing another diet culture stronghold. As soon as there's treatment, evidence-based treatment available, we're now saying, oh, wait, but no. You can't use that way. You've got to use the eat less, move more way. And so there's a lot of change that needs to be made. And I sat here last time with you on the body image segment apologizing on behalf of healthcare practitioners, because I still think we play a role. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still more work to be done.
Yes, you did. You did apologize, and I have to give you props for that. It's not your responsibility to apologize, but look at how much it needs to be heard, right? It needs to be heard that this isn't just our thing that we've been carrying in isolation by ourselves because we have no control and we have no discipline. So it is very nice to hear that. And I just want to repeat one thing you said, Dr. Van, and that is that you can be fat and you can also be healthy. You might be overweight and not sick. So just understand that not everyone that has extra weight is actually ill, and not everyone needs to fix that, but, you know, with a drug or whatever. Like, it's an important point. It's not an excuse. So, seems a lot of people have lots to say about this topic. Actress Busy Phillips was on a podcast recently and was very outspoken about the double standards that exist in Hollywood between men and women. Take a look.
Is a woman an animal who feels like she's ready to move from body positivity to body neutrality?
Give me Ozempic. I don't care. I didn't create the problem.
No.
We all live with it. We're not changing it. All these have been on HGH forever. I never saw one Time magazine cover about it. I'm sorry.
So basically what she's saying is, the world is what it is, and it's not changing. So we are being shamed for being fat, and then we're being shamed for taking weight loss drugs. What's it going to be? Men have been doing this forever. She says they're on growth hormones in order to be like Superman or whatever. I don't watch Marvel, but any of those big heroes, like, you know, they're all on these drugs in order to maintain that look from 40 plus. But we're in this weird in-between space. So this is what I want to talk about. How do we balance the comeback of these weight loss medications with the strides we've made in body acceptance, which we talk about a lot on this show, and showcasing diverse body sizes everywhere on runways and magazines? Are we slipping backwards? Are we going back to damaging diet culture because now people think, oh, you're fat, there's a cure. Why don't you just go take that pill? Like, you need to fix that. What do you think, Dr. Tony?
Yeah, I mean, this is such an important topic. I think when I think about how we approach any treatment in medicine, it's always a discussion. It's a collaborative decision-making process where we talk about the risks and the benefits, and we talk about, you know, are you free to choose what is best for you and your life in those moments?
Yeah.
When it comes to obesity, when we have constant messaging around you need to be thinner, you need to be constantly working towards thinness, and if you're not, you're doing something wrong, are we really free to choose, particularly as women when there's so much pressure as a society? And so do we take on more risk? Do we take on cost? Do we take on things that we wouldn't otherwise take on just because there is so much added pressure in this conversation? I think that's one thing. Yeah. And then I also think if we aren't addressing our own internalized fat phobia and our own internalized ableism as like individuals, but also as a society, we run the risk of creating an expectation that people who are in larger bodies need to be taking a medication every day or every week, whatever it is, for the rest of their lives. And if they don't, then they're doing something wrong because they're not, you know, choosing health. And again, so is there, and does that sort of, if they choose not to, for whatever reason, they can't afford it, they have side effects, whatever it might be, if they can't do that, do we then add to bias and shame and more stigma as a medical community? And I think we run the risk of doing so. Mm-hmm. And so when I think about the potential for harm, it's not the medications in and of themselves. It's the medications in a society with this amount of fat phobia and discrimination.
Yep.
You know, that's where the harms are.
I think I would also encourage people to also look at health, sure, a choice, but also look at wealth disparity.
Yeah.
You know, people say health doesn't have to cost a lot, just go to the gym. Well, what if you can't afford a gym? People say go run in your neighborhood. What if you don't live in a safe neighborhood? Yeah. What if you don't have access to stores that have produce? Yeah. What if you can't afford the produce in the stores close to your house? Like, health has never been for all. Health has always been related to wealth. Absolutely. So this is just trying to strip back the shame, I think, that people get for living an unhealthy life or looking unhealthy. So I appreciate you two so much for coming here and having this conversation. We wanted the real doctors with the real information, and that is what you've given us. I think we all need to check in our brains what is healthy, what is acceptable, and the answer is that all of our bodies are acceptable. They really are. Keep the conversation going with your people and your friends, and we will keep it going here.